fear is something we all know too well. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of losing the people we love, fear of the future. Be honest. How often does fear hold you back from living fully? How often has fear made you hesitate, overthink, or walk away from an opportunity you knew you wanted? Here's the surprising truth. The Stoics believed fear isn't the enemy. Fear is a signal, and if you face it the right way, fear can actually make you stronger. Nearly 2.0 years ago, philosophers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius dealt with more chaos and danger than we can imagine. Yet their words are still here, teaching us how to handle fear without letting it control us. In this video, I'm going to break down how the Stoics understood fear, why most of our fears are illusions, and 3 practical exercises you can use today to deal with fear the Stoic way. Stick around until the end, because I'll share one perspective that can permanently change how you look at fear. Let's start with the problem. Fear can paralyze us. Think about the last time you faced something intimidating: a big presentation, a tough conversation, an uncertain decision. Maybe your heart raced, your mind created every worst-case scenario, and you almost gave up. That's fear in action. But here's what Seneca wrote: "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." The Stoics knew what modern science confirms: most of the things we fear never actually happen. Now let's step back into history. Marcus Aurelius was emperor of Rome during times of war and plague. Imagine waking up every day knowing that your empire could crumble, your people could die, and your enemies were always plotting against you. If anyone had reason to live in fear, it was him. But what did Marcus write in his private journal? If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. He reminded himself that fear is not in the event, it's in the judgment. That brings us to the first Stoic lesson. Separate what you can control from what you can't. Epictetus, who was born a slave and later became a philosopher, taught the dichotomy of control. He said, "Some things are up to us and some things are not. You can't control whether the economy collapses. You can't control if someone rejects you. But you can control how you prepare, how you act, and how you respond." Fear grows when we focus on what we don't control. Fear shrinks when we focus only on what we can. Here's an example. You're afraid of a job interview. What if I fail? What if they don't like me? Those fears are outside your control. But what's inside your control? Preparing your answers, doing your research, showing up on time. Once you've done those things, the rest is not yours to carry. That's the Stoic way to deal with fear. Focus on the controllable. Release the rest. The second Stoic lesson. Negative visualization. This might sound strange, but it's powerful. The Stoics practice premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Instead of avoiding fearful thoughts, they imagine them. Seneca wrote, "He robs present ills of their power, who has perceived their coming beforehand." If you imagine the worst, you'll see it's not as unbearable as your fear suggests. For example, let's say you're afraid of losing your job. Picture it really. Imagine it. You'd be scared, yes. But then what? You'd update your resume. You'd apply for new roles. You'd survive by facing the fear directly. You see that even in the worst-case scenario, life goes on. Fear loses its grip when you shine a light on it. The third Stoic lesson. Memento Mori. Remember death. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." At first this sounds grim, but the Stoics used it as motivation. If life is short, why waste it paralyzed by fear? Why let fear steal the limited time you have? When you realize death comes for everyone, fear shrinks, you become bolder. You speak up, you take the chance. You live fully, because you know tomorrow is never promised. Now let's bring this to modern life. Think about fear of public speaking. It's one of the most common fears people imagine. Humiliation mistakes judgment. The Stoic approach: prepare what you can control. Your speech, your notes. Your breathing, visualize the worst. Maybe you forget a line, what happens? You pause, smile, and continue. Will it kill you? No. Then remind yourself of impermanence. Will this moment matter in 5 years? Probably not. That's how Stoicism transforms fear into calm. Confidence. Here's a Stoic exercise you can try tonight. Write down one fear that's holding you back. Then ask, is this in my control? If yes, take one step toward it. If not, let it go. Next, imagine the worst-case scenario for that fear. Write out how you would respond. Finally, remind yourself life is short. Would you rather live in fear or live in action? This practice puts fear back in its place. So, how do you deal with fear? The Stoic way. Recognize that most fears live in your imagination. Separate what you can control from what you can't. Visualize the worst so it no longer surprises you. And remember life's brevity. Because when you face death, fear loses its bite. If Marcus Aurelius could stay calm while ruling an empire at war, and if Epictetus could find freedom even as a slave, then you and I can face our fears too. If this video gave you something useful, give it a like so more people can find Stoic wisdom. Share it with a friend who struggles with fear. Subscribe for daily Stoic lessons to build a calmer, stronger mind, and I want to hear from you. What fear are you facing right now? Drop it in the comments. I'll be reading and replying. Remember, fear isn't the enemy. Fear is the opportunity to practice courage. That's the Stoic way.